I'm jealous. You got the California sun. It's probably nice out there, huh?
Yeah, about like it's probably gonna be 70 today. I mean, where I'm at, the weather, it's hotter than the Bay. I'm in the Bay Area, but I'm more inland. So
Okay.
like if I go to, I mean, Oakland's probably like 40 minutes away, but the weather is like cooler because it's by the water. We're not as close to the water, so we have hotter summers.
Yeah.
But it always cools off at night. So
I've only been to like San Fran, but I've never been really beyond that.
yeah.
More north than that, I guess.
Yeah, the San Francisco is probably it's rarely because of the breeze. I mean, unless we get like
Yeah.
1 or 2 hot days, for them it's like 60, 70, but
Yeah, it's always nice there.
foggy. Yeah.
So how you been?
No complaints, just keep it busy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been
Imagine.
hectic for work and everything, but other than that, I just enjoy my weekends off. I've been working crazy just because we got a lot going on.
Yeah. I'm glad that you even had time. When I asked you, I didn't even know if you'd have time. I thought you'd be like, dude, it's too crazy right now. I don't even have.
Well, I'm fortunate in the position that I'm in at work because I work at the academy. So I'm not on patrol anymore, and I only have to work the jail like maybe like I got to go work the jail tomorrow for mandatory, but it's like a couple times a month. So it's nice because it's not as hectic. In the academy, it's kind of fun time. You get to work out, yell at some recruits, and then you mold them into graduation day. So we have a class that just started 2 weeks ago, and then one that's going to graduate in a month. So it's 2 different spectrums. But
in a dream world, I would have done this interview coming out to California at some point, or like
I was supposed to come out there in a month. My nephew was supposed to graduate. He was supposed to graduate May 30th because like my mom and my sister and one of my brothers are still back there. But I don't know. I mean, I want to come out in the summer. I haven't been there since Thanksgiving 18. But
oh wow.
I mean, it depends. So I'm just looking at dates and hopefully everything comes down. I can maybe get out while the kids are out for summer, but we'll see.
That's the other thing. Like if I see people are coming to town, I would try and keep an eye out for people. So I definitely would have done that. But here we are in today's age. So when I was like, okay, I have to start like doing life now. I have to like start figuring out what to do in these walls. I've been here by myself for like 5 weeks now. So
I know you're going crazy. There's a lot of people going crazy.
I'm binge watching like my 4th classic TV show right now. I'm in the middle of Sopranos. So
I mean, really, I don't get the luxury. Like my husband's retired law enforcement, so he's going crazy. But at the same time, I've tried to get the kids on a schedule, so at least helps him. But it's only so much that we can, because we moved just a month ago before all this started. So
really,
it's a benefit, but then it's like there's pieces of my house I want to get together. So I mean, the benefit is that we have a nice backyard, so the kids can kind of just come out here and just scramble around. But I mean, I'm glad we moved before this started because then we don't know how that would have affected later. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, for me, like trying to keep busy and stuff, I decided to just start doing the podcast now. And since I can't see anyone face to face anyway, I might as well reach out to people that were going to be the hardest to go see. So, I figure since you're out in California, let's go,
Yeah, might as well.
And I was happy. You were like, yeah, all in. So thanks.
Because I've been following through with like them and I was like, I missed the last couple, but I just think it's hilarious. Like I was listening to some of the ones like Eric and Alea, and I was like, oh, I'm just taking back memories. Like it's crazy.
Where did you start at Wissahickon? When did you come in?
I was there since kindergarten. But we were in Ambler. We moved like in 2nd grade. So I was at Shady Grove kindergarten 1st and 2nd. Oh. And then starting in 3rd grade, we moved the middle of 2nd, but I stayed at Shady Grove and they bussed us back and forth. But I was in Bluebell 4th, 5th, and 4th and 5th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, excuse me. So I was there. It was just the transition. Like my whole roots are Ambler, Penllyn, like coming up.
Yeah. Were you in Penllyn most of the time? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah. So like it's crazy because my mom, my dad are both Wissahickon grads from 72. So like it's like I have my aunt and uncle that graduated 71 and my mom and dad 72. And the house that like my girl Kristen Thompson, we grew up together in Penllyn. Like her house that she stayed in is the same house my mom and then went like all my mom's siblings, same house that they grew up in.
Wow.
But yeah, like my dad, that we lived, the house I was in Ambler, my dad grew up right next door. So like my cousin still to this day, she like rebought the house, refurbished it, everything like that. So like it's
where in Ambler?
Pretty cool. Right on West Maple, like right across from the Levy.
Yeah.
Like right next to the basketball park. So
wow, yes.
340 and 342 West Maple. So right there, just right by the corner. So like that's essentially all my childhood really is Penllyn, but I have like small memories of Ambler, obviously, like, early elementary.
That's funny. So I'm the interview that comes out tomorrow is Sean McAman. Oh, okay. And I'm literally in the process of editing his interview now. I just finished, and we're talking about Penllyn, and he's saying, he moved there, and I'm saying I don't think I've really talked to anyone from Penllyn too much that lived there for a long period of time. So what was Penllyn like?
I mean, it was a neighborhood that was just very family oriented. I mean, for the most part, it's funny how you have like certain families that are still there. You had like the core families of the Lowe's. Let me see. You had the Lowe's, you had the Moores. The Lowe's pretty much took up the whole. I think I think Johnson, there's a few more, but like you had the older families, and like there's a lot of them that are still there. I mean, I go back, like when I took my husband back and just showed him like the stomping grounds, like there's a family like the Moores. Their mother used to live, like there was an older lady who was the mother to the family that used to watch us when my mom was out of town. Okay. And like she lived right next door to us. I think they're still alive. I mean, they might be in their 90s now, but they used to watch us when my mom was out of town. My mom watched their kids when she was coming up. But, the Waples used to be on the corner. And then you have like Nikki Burrell and Ashley Harrison. They used to live like street over Malik Harris, Justin Newman, like a lot of these people. I don't know if you remember Dinesha Joel, the Joels. That's right.
Yeah, I remember Dinesha.
And then obviously the Stouts. Earl, the Stout, Earl, Tiffany, Billy, Heather, all them. I mean, it's cool. I'm trying to think. He had Pumpkin Taylor, like he moved from Ambler. His family moved to Penllyn. There's a lot. I mean, it was very family. Everybody knew each other, so you couldn't get in trouble. Like, what I mean? Some of the Ambler neighbor, like everybody, you had people that knew each other, but it was like Penllyn. There was like, oh, I know you. You're Kim's daughter. So it was like, I'm watching you. Like, everybody knew each other, but like we would all congregate at the school field. In the summer and after school, go down there, play basketball. The park that was there, they built it up a lot. You know what I mean? Like they added the tennis courts and stuff right before I left. But right after I graduated, my mom like left out of there. She moved to North Wales, and then now she's in Norristown. So like she didn't stay, but the whole route itself, like it's still the same. Like
yeah. Who were your friends growing up in Penllyn?
So mainly, I mean, you had Nikki Burrell. Obviously, Ashley Harrison, we're cousins. So, grew up with her. Kristen Thompson, we used to kick it a lot. Her family, like her parents used to like her hang out with me. Shalyn Wiggins, she, obviously the Stout family, you know what I mean? The Lowe, Margaret Lowe and all them, everyone was
I do remember her now. Yeah,
Margaret Lowe, and then she had her brother and sister, Sheila and Kenny, but they were obviously younger than us. Okay. And then, I mean, Nikki Burrell had her brother. She had the three or four brothers. And then the Holmes family. You had John Holmes and his brother Juan and Johan. Right. And then
Juan, of course,
Juan, yeah. So, like, I mean, everyone, for the most part, though, like, I hung out a lot with, like, Chala and Nikki, Randy. I forgot about Randy. Randy Epps. But, like, they used to live on the corner, like, but Kristen Thompson, I mean, and then obviously, for the core of my entire childhood was filled with sports. So obviously playing ball with like Ashley Harrison and all them, we used to come up together through that. So mainly like the outlet, just go to the playground. I mean, go to the school field and you just play ball with everybody. I used to, go to the park, hang out. I'm trying to think. Ryan Satchel, I don't know if you remember him. He was a year under us.
Sounds really, the name sounds familiar, but I might be thinking of Satchel Paige.
Yeah. But there was a few like, I can't forget JoJo Johnson. Remember Joe Johnson?
Yes. Yeah, great baseball
Timmy,
player.
His cousin Timmy. So like they lived just parallel to my street, you know what I mean? So it's like all just close knit, you know what I mean? We'd all just be hanging out. Shannon Monroe lived at the corner. Larry Dyson. How I forget about Larry?
Shannon Monroe, Larry Dyson, yeah.
So Larry was like, when he came into the neighborhood, I was already living there, but, we hung out a lot, and he had his little sister, Leslie. So, we, just come out, just, you could run up and down the street, just the same as in certain portions of Ambler, you know what I mean? It wasn't street, our street was a dead end. So, like, I mean, you could kick it. People coming down there obviously lived there, you know what I mean? So, but.
Did you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, so I was a baby, but I got my sister. So my sister graduated high school. She graduated in '97. So we were 8th grade before we moved up, to high school. But then my oldest brother graduated from Wissahickon in '91, and then my brother Eric. Most know Eric because he was a state champion track and stuff like that. But Eric, and then he had his music group that he used to do the performances in the high schools, everything like that. He still does music now.
Really?
But
Eric, what year was he?
He 95. So we were in 6th grade, and then my sister graduated in '97. And then my half brother Jody, he went to North Penn. So, but he was known in the neighborhood. But he's part of the Johnsons. Like his mom is a Johnson. His aunt used to run, still does, I think, a daycare. My nephew actually went there my kids came out one summer. They said my mom, they went there. Peggy, I don't know if you know Miss Peggy. The name, it might, if you don't have kids, you really don't, but everybody that has kids in the area, somebody's kids went to Miss Peggy.
Yeah, Miss Peggy.
But that's my half brother Jody's mom, his aunt, I apologize. But for the core of us, yeah, I was the baby. So coming up in high school, the last 4 years, just me and my mom, because my sister went to school down in Florida. And then my brother was in Jersey in college. So, okay. But yeah, everybody, I was I was known, but it was just, I was the baby. So my clique of friends wasn't really the same as my siblings, unless it was their older. Dinesha's older sister and my sister are good friends to this day, Shamika. And then obviously the Stout family, it was a second family for us, growing up. My mom knew Earl and them's family when they were growing up. So, all that. It's funny how everything comes back around. If you grew up in that neighborhood, everything just circles back around like that.
Yeah. So when you went to, when you moved to Bluebell, did everyone from Penllyn go to Bluebell?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I moved middle second grade. So they let me finish a second grade year at Shady Grove. And it was just you bus back and forth. But everyone, unless for some other reason, you know what I mean? Everyone went to Bluebell. So okay, we were all Bluebell kids. I don't know if you remember this, but when for you, Bluebell, when I was in Bluebell, I think it was 3rd or 4th grade, we had pen pals. And me and you ended up being pen pals, but you was at Shady Grove.
What?
And I laughed about it. We had brought it up to each other we got to I think late middle school or early high school, but it's funny because you were my pen pal. I remember we had to do it 4th grade. And I remember your name was A. Bradford Corbett. I remember thinking why, what's the A for? Whatever, but
you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I think it was 4th grade. They did something where they're oh, you're in the pen pal, and there's somebody one of the other schools, you know. So that was, I laughed about that. We got, when we start getting cool, talking throughout the older grades. I was you don't remember being my pen pal.
Did I remember this?
We talked about it, but it was something, it's something that, it's elementary school. You're not really going to remember super much.
I feel I remember so much about 4th grade. 4th grade, I feel is the year I really started coming into my own as a personality and the things that I like. And a lot of that had to do with my 4th grade class. A lot of people have talked already on the podcast about Mrs. Roebuck, who we had in 4th grade. That's who, it was just a lot of music, and she was Black. And so just culturally, music and comedy and just the way that she would treat you and talk to you. Chris Warren had her, Kim Devaney. And so that's where, wow, that's crazy. Who did you have in 4th grade?
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember her name. She was a good teacher because she actually gave me my did this whole thing where I got props because I started running when I was 7, 8 years old. I can't remember her name, but just from the track portions that year in 4th grade, I had went to, was it 4th or 5th? It was 4th. I went to one of the cross country nationals for AAU, and ended up getting within I ended up finishing the top 20 something where I got a medal. And she had it was 4th grade because I hated that picture. And I hated my hairstyle, but she took that picture and put it all around the school and gave me props. Unfortunately, I cannot remember. I for some reason can't remember 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade teacher name.
No, see, I remember. I think I remember all mine.
And that's bad. But at the same time, that's the 4th grade teacher. She was. I really liked her. I just can't. I can't remember. I only remember kindergarten. I only remember my kindergarten teacher's name.
What were you into as a kid? Before you got to middle school, high school, just growing up, what kind of stuff were you into doing?
So we were always a sports family. So my dad played ball at Wissahickon, and he was, he just played basketball. My mom, as a youngster, ran track, but my grandfather wasn't one to believe that, women should get muscles. So she couldn't continue it. But I started at 7 years old. I mean, I played soccer really young, 1 or 2 years, and then did T-ball 1 year, but started like young, it was basketball, track. Like I started running cross country 7, almost 8, and then continued into that. So, and then my brother ran, you know what I mean? So like elementary school, definitely from like 3rd grade on up was just basketball and track. And then I did like the WRA, obviously, and that's initially where I first met Ann Patterson. Her dad was our coach, you know what I mean? So me and her got close from that point on. We were obviously at different schools, but we, came up together. So like me and Kristen Thompson, like just play basketball. Like obviously you go out and you do your certain things, but even in the summer, like I go kick it and hang out with friends during the day. You go outside and play. 5 o'clock, my butt had better been home because my mom was coming from work, taking me to the high school for track practice. So like, but I didn't feel like it was like a job. You know how some people feel like, oh, I hated it. I loved it. To just go out there and run and just interact. And, there's a lot of friendships I have from people from different school districts due to the sports, especially with track, with Amber Olympic Club, AOC. But a lot of, I still feel like I had a good childhood. I was out there playing and doing whatever, but it was track and basketball, which was cool. Like I said, I enjoyed it. And then I wanted to be a lot like my brother. You know what I mean? My brother was well known. He was a star athlete in high school, and, he juggled the school plays and stuff. So just looking up to him. So I was like track all the way in basketball. So
did your brother go to college for sports or anything?
Yeah. So Eric, he went to Seton Hall.
Oh, wow.
So he graduated with Zig in 95. And then he went on to Seton Hall and graduated from there 2000. So he graduated. So it was cool because like for him, he started his interest. He always had this interest in music and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you remember Sean Lowe. He was one of the top running back for Wichita in the early 90s.
Okay.
But him and Eric grew up together since like 2nd grade. So Sean Lowe, my brother, Eric, I don't know if you remember Talik Hall. He's from Ambler. These were like way before, and you might not remember because when you came into the Ambler and like
yeah,
not knowing a lot of people.
Yeah, I moved in '88, and I probably never came out of my block until '94.
So my brother, Sean Lowe, Talik Hall, and Thorne Griffin had this group called Thuan Posse, and they started it when they were like young. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was like late elementary or definitely middle school, and they would perform at the middle school like concerts, and then they would perform like around like one of the guys' moms would help book them shows. So like he did that, and then he did a lot of stuff coming up in high school, and he did like school plays, and but in the end he started really getting into the obviously artsy stuff. And so when he got to college, he ran all 4 years, but he really started to bloom with his graphics and stuff. So he did the track for the 4 years. It got Big East championship, and now he's off in New York doing like TV show graphics and stuff like that. But he was able to, he enjoyed it. He got a scholarship and did all that, but he branched off and stuff now. So
I asked that because I'm just wondering, when you were running and you had such a passion for it and you acknowledge it was kind of in the family, at any point, like when you're this young, and obviously you went on to run in college, but at any point, did you think that was like an attainable, did you think that was something, did you understand that your brother was doing that, like with having like an athletic career in a sense?
So, when I was little, it didn't click. Me, I was just little happy-go-lucky, just running, you know what I mean? Like, no care in the world. But like Eric graduated when I was we were in 6th grade. I remember he graduated when we were in 6th grade. So at that point in time, things started to click a little bit. Like, this is something that, whether it be basketball or track, because honestly, most people don't really know that basketball was my first love. I enjoyed running, but I really wanted to really push basketball. But I ended up running in college because it's how the cards fell out and things panned out better. But
sure.
But yeah, so it was like I knew that, okay, if I work hard and continue to push myself, that this could be an option for me. You know what I mean? Like you watching the Olympians and, going to Penn relays, which is crazy. There's no Penn relays this year. It's supposed to be this weekend coming up. Like there's no Penn. This first one in like over 120 some years, there's no Penns. But just being in that atmosphere and being telling myself, you're seeing the hard work that other people because I knew a lot of the runners that my brother ran against. And so it's just, like seeing that for him and being able to go to his college meets and see all that, like I was like, I can achieve this.
when you went to middle school, for you, like, you know, now we're separated by pods. For you, just you got your friends from Penllyn, but were you still around them in middle school? Did you have to start making new friends? I kind of always look at middle school as like the time when things kind of change and people really start to click up a bit. Did anything for you socially change?
Not really. I mean, you get to, I think just being, you know, you're having the group of people from Penllyn and you'd see some people that you know from Ambler. Because I mean, I was known, like, because my dad still lived in Ambler, so everyone knew me like, oh, that's Chucky's daughter. You know what I mean? My dad was well known in Ambler, still is. You know what I mean? My dad, that's his stomping grounds. So it was like, for me, they're like, oh, that's Chucky's kids, or that's so-and-so's sister. So coming up, like, I didn't have the clique, but I knew, you know, I knew I had my you know, my people from the neighborhood, and then obviously I got back together with my cousin Antoinette Wise, you know, and then you know, you get to know other people, like, you know, like, that's where, well, me and Brandon Deese actually ended up meeting track-wise, and we were, like, boyfriend and girlfriend-ish in, like, 5th grade, in the 6th grade. So, like, you know, even though he was at Shady Groves, you meet him, you know, and then you start meeting, you know, other people. So it's like, what I remember is trying to be friends with everyone. You know what I mean? Like, I never, you know, you all want to, at some point, fit in and be a part of a group, but at the same time, you don't want to be that one that no one wants to be around. Like, you know, so it's like, you know, you'd be trying to be cool with everybody and get that.
Tell me about it.
Never wanted to be that person where it was like, someone wanted to fight or, you know, whatever. So you try to just please everybody. And I ended up making a lot of different friends. You think about looking back at a lot of people, you look at your Facebook stuff, it's like, well, you felt like I was cool with a lot of people, which was, you know, like I say, at that point in middle school, it's really like, that's the time frame where you don't want to be an outcast, or, you know, I mean, you want to make sure you're in the know and know what's going on and be around the right people.
Yeah. So as you're, I guess, going through middle school and you're still doing sports, you're still doing basketball and track, are you finding that you're, like, excelling?
I mean, somewhat. I mean, at the time, it's like middle school, you obviously 6th grade, there was no sports, you know what I mean? But I still had I wasn't doing AAU basketball at that time, it was just track. So my timing was, in that scope of things, was just the summer track. But once 7th and 8th grade hit, I wouldn't look at it as an excelling, you know what I mean? In middle school, I started playing AAU ball in 8th grade, and my mom was not a fan initially of AAU because she thought it was just kind of similar to WRA, like, and she's like, I'm not finna pay all this money for it to just kind of be like this, until Mr. Patterson, Ann's dad, kind of convinced her, like, no, it's a little different. So she let me try out. But just overall, it was just like, you know, I get done track practice and I head on to basketball practice. It was, you know, track practice at the school, and then I'd go to basketball. Middle school, it didn't really click, like, excelling purposes. I was just like, you know what, I'm out here playing, like, yeah, you're one of the star people, but I never felt like I was like, whoa, it's like I'm better than this or that. I don't think it really clicked, like, my abilities, like, were excelling until, like, maybe freshman year, because I actually moved up to varsity freshman year.
Okay.
For basketball. But, like, in middle school, it was just fun. You know what I mean? I can still consider it fun. And for me, like, I didn't get contacts until 8th grade. So, like, I had to put on that exterior of, like, not being made fun of, because I was skinny. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I had the glasses. And then,
did you wear glasses?
Oh, yeah. I had glasses since, like, 2nd, 3rd grade. And, like, I used to hate when the glasses would break and you had them, you know, the weird shape frame ones. And then, so, like, I had that exterior show where it was like, people would, you know, try to make fun of me, but I had to put on that, you know, the tough ones. I was like, man, whatever. So that actually helped too, because then people, like, not mess with you. But I was like, you know, or you'd have a quick comeback, because it was like, I'm not going to get punked. I know I'm skinny. Like, whatever, nothing new. Okay, I wear glasses, you know, so what? You know what I mean? Like,
Did you do drama, musicals in middle school?
No. I was in chorus. Never did any of the plays. I did band. I played the drums, I think, up in middle school, but I didn't continue it because I didn't have an opportunity with my schedule. So, like, I wasn't able to do that with all that I had on my plate. So, like, I enjoyed playing. I played the drums. I enjoyed it. Like, I did some of I think I remember going to the Phillies game for, like, the national anthem, and then, like, the Ambler parade, the holiday parade, but I couldn't unfortunately continue it. because I had to make a decision. I obviously wasn't as interested in doing that than the sporting event. So
I feel like I had like memories of you like dancing in musicals. But
not in musicals, but you might remember. I don't know if we were in the same pod, but there was like the music class we had to do I remember 8th grade. It was like me, Danita Brown, and someone else had to do some music thing. Like we danced to Prince.
It was like a talent show type of thing. It was like a winter performance.
No, it was like part of the music thing. Like we did Kiss by Prince, but I don't remember it being like a talent show.
Oh, was it music class?
Yeah, it was like music class. So that was one thing. We made a little video like we had like stayed after school and we taped the whole dance thing. And then there was something else we did. It was a group of us. I don't remember who, but we did Tell Me by Drew Hill. And it was like in front of the whole auditorium. Like not the whole auditorium, but it was just our class. I don't know how many were in that class. Because we did Tell Me and we were all hyped. And then I think I remember Rafi Sanchez, George Cortez, and someone else did California Love, but like a couple of them was being all shy. And I was like, I remember sitting there like, come on, I know the lyrics. Like, why y'all being shy? But like everybody had their, their fear of like getting up in public, whether it be public speaking or performing. But I didn't do any plays, but those are the two things in music class where like we actually like danced in front of someone.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I didn't have the time to do the play. Like, I don't think like that portion, like, I don't know. It wasn't like I enjoyed the musicals. My brother did the musicals all through high school, but I just was never one to be, because I never presented itself as an option for me. Like, I don't want to do that,
Well, it's probably really tough too. Track is a spring sport, and musicals kick in the spring. And I know there was always a constant battle between music and the chorus and the drama directors with winter football, fall, and spring sports taking the guys and a lot of the girls away from
my brother had that battle for years. Because he did 3 out of the 4 years for musicals. They did. He was and his biggest. They did the article on him because he was a scarecrow in The Wiz. When they did The Wiz and the battle, like his track coach that he used to have with them, and then he was Bernardo and West Side Story in '95, his senior year. And, it was a lot. That was a battle. His track coaches, oh gosh, indoor season, they battled. So yeah, definitely. And that might be part of the reason why watching him have those battles and the frustrations, and because he wanted to do those things and he wanted to run, and the coaching staff was just not always on board with it. The musical staff, the drama staff was. So I think that might subconsciously be a reason why I didn't really think of those options, because I watched him and knowing he had the passion for those things and the struggle he had, and maybe thinking like, I don't want to have that struggle. Let me just focus on one thing.
So you'll have to let your brother know, or maybe he'll listen to this and find out. But West Side Story, that performance of West Side Story is something that to this day I remember. Like in my head, my mom took me to see that. That's the first time I ever saw West Side Story. Oh, wow. And I fell in love with it. I remember seeing it I think we got to go as 6th graders.
Yeah, because that was his senior year, so it would have been a 6th grade for us.
So we got to go early and see like the dress rehearsal during the day.
Yeah.
And I think we got to maybe just see the second act or something like that. But then I asked my mom to take me, and we went, and I did musicals. I acted like as a kid, like 10, 11, 12. And when I got to middle school, I was like in all the musicals there. And then I went and did the musicals in high school, and all the way through high school, I thought I was going to be going to college for theater. Mm-hmm. And it all pretty much stemmed from seeing what that performance of West Side Story, because I thought it was so damn good, and that's what I wanted to do.
The director at that time, I don't know if you remember, Miss Rubenstein.
Yeah, Mrs. Reckner, Mrs. Rubenstein. Yeah.
So she, with that, just if you go back, West Side Story was great, but you go back a year before The Wiz, the way they'd only had those plays, and they would be 3 nights when they would do their musicals, and The Wiz was so good that I remember they asked for it to come back in regards to like another additional couple of days, but they only have stuff set for a certain time in regards to like just outfit, the what do you call the outfits, the attire they wear. Costume. And all that. So everything all together, like they were like, man, we couldn't, but they had made so much money, and so that I think that's what helped with the West Side Story, because they she did. So I just remember she did such a great job with all those productions for that block of time that she was there. They were so good, so well done. Even her freshman year. What was it they did?
Godspell.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one from freshman year.
That was my peak. So I did Godspell, and I was so happy with that show. To this day, Godspell is one of my favorite shows, and I love being in that. I never felt like we reached those heights again. I was literally just talking. So JP was just interviewed JP on Monday. JP Meyer, yeah,
yeah,
and he does theater. And we were talking about the musicals and all that, and I was talking about how I felt like Godspell was kind of the top, and then when we went and we did like My Fair Lady and Mame, and
I remember Mame.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
And these were things I could not sink my teeth into. To be honest, Brandon Deese getting in around that time is like what kind of saved me during those times, because like I just did not feel like I was vibing with these selections the way that
he left and he came back. Brandon, I remember that.
Yeah. Brandon was actually in that 4th grade class. That's when I met Brandon in that 4th grade class that we were pen pals with Mrs. Roebuck, and he was a big part. Michael Jackson and.
Because he used to do the performances. I remember seeing the news articles, and he would he would do all those performances at the school. Yeah,
the talent show at Shady Grove, and man, he would bring in like vinyl records, all the Michael Jackson vinyl records, and he would offer to dub records for you of like all the Michael Jackson albums for like $1. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, can I have $1? BG's gonna give me a.
That 4th grade hustle.
Tape. Yeah.
4th grade hustle.
And I remember like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Do you have it yet? I gave you the $1. Is it ready yet? And I lived off of those tapes forever.
Yeah. He because I don't know if were you a part of our senior class show?
No.
Brandon did we did that whole skit. I mean,
I remember
we did our whole major skit.
I was supposed to be in that. That's actually when Ray died, and I kind of blacked out that entire time. But when it first started, it was like a timeline through history, right?
We did we started off in the 60s, and then we moved obviously up to the current. But that was fun. I still want to see a video from that. Like Brandon said he had one, and it's always because like he lives down in LA, so like we communicate. He came up here last time I saw him. He came up for my academy graduation. He came up for the party I had. But we talk all the time actually, obviously through social media and stuff. But I told him, like, I want to see a video from that. You think about stuff you did, and that would be hilarious. We spent so much time. Who was it? Because it was me, Antoinette. I can't remember who the third female was. And then Scott Beck was one of our dancers, and I'm trying to remember who. There was one more person. I'm trying to remember. I mean, there was a few more, but I'm trying to remember the other two. But either way,
I feel like was Hank involved in that? I feel like that would have been something Hank would have been doing.
He was I think he helped, but obviously he was a junior.
Yeah.
I think Crystal Carmody might have been the other female.
Sounds right. Would Bianca have been in that?
Maybe. I can't remember.
This is horrible, Jess. I'm literally just naming black people.
Well, Scott was
he was Asian.
Yeah, and then there was one more. I just can't think who it was, but I still laugh because Scott, initially he's like, I didn't know. Actually, to be real, I didn't know
Scott was a break dancer, right?
Yeah, I didn't know.
They used to break dance.
Like, okay.
Yeah, they used to do the break dance clubs in the hallways after school and like do the whole. Yes.
And so initially, like, I'm not saying like, oh, you can't be here. I just know he could dance, and then I was like, okay, I'll give you props, Scott. All right.
That's funny.
Yeah, but the plays that she did a good job with those musicals. I mean, it's preparation and stuff and everything. Like, there's a lot of good memories even to this day from like childhood. Because my brother's freshman year, they did Bye Bye Birdie, and that one sticks out to me too. Obviously.
Yeah, I remember that was Death of a Salesman was another one.
His sophomore year, they did South Pacific, but he didn't do it because of all the backlash from doing sports and combining with the musicals. It was his sophomore year was the toughest year, battling back and forth with the coaching staff and him doing the plays. So
okay,
but
for you then going from middle school, so middle school you wanted to be just drama free. sounds like you're kind of like establishing friends. Sports you sound kind of even with everyone else, and just figuring it out. When you get to high school, then same group of friends.
Yeah, I mean, once I got to high school, I started hanging more out with I don't know, I flocked to like the Italians. I was hanging out with like Stefania and Maria.
Maria Gigliotti.
Danielle Tumolo, like a lot of them girls came in the mix. But overall, like sport-wise, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I always try to, it was instilled in me, like, to humble myself. You know what I mean? Like, you start to branch off because myself and Ashley Kreider were the three that moved up freshman year to the JV varsity. And so, like, you don't want to, I still, even with track, like, I mean, yeah, you were faster than people, but I always try to, like, still give props and respect to those people. So, like, I never wanted to make myself out to be like, oh, I'm better than this person or whatever. I tried to, keep everybody even keel, even though, like, hey, I'm playing varsity as a freshman, but I tried to keep the same, like, keep that world separate. You still want to hang out with people, still have fun. I didn't go out all the time because my time at home would be consumed with, sports or just chilling. You know what I mean? Well,
I was just going to ask to go from middle school where you weren't very braggadocious about your skill set, and you even said that basketball is your true love, but I guess track is what you excelled in high school, or in college at least, what you pursued. Mm-hmm. What is happening from 8th grade into freshman year that you jump into varsity?
I think it's playing AAU. We, and just working on, I tried to just work on my skills as much as I could. I remember the coach because he knew my sister. I mean, my sister played basketball too. So the high school coach was my Mr. Kirk. And then you remember Miss Karanji. She was she's a JV, the JV and the assistant. So, they used to come watch. I would be at the games, obviously, my sister playing her senior year. And so, to be crazy, it's like he let me my sister never turned her jersey in. We all kept the same number, the number my dad's number 33. And then, of course, let my mom tell it, it'd be Larry Bird. My mom's a diehard Celtics fan. So, but
what?
We kept, she's from Boston. You gotta defend it. She's from Boston. Right, I feel it, but my mom's a Bostonian. She's a Patriots and a Celtics fan. Oh. But we played summer league, obviously, with the basketball. So, you knew that, okay, this is an opportunity for me. And if I'm going to have this, I don't want to lose it. Not knocking anybody that played freshman ball, but it was like, if I got an opportunity to excel. And so I went in and, it was hard. Me and Ann went in as freshmen, and even Ashley, and it's hard because we're living up to the expectations of, like, these seniors and these upperclassmen. But I don't think it clicked really until the second half of that year. We played, I might have got, because every time I would get into varsity, get some time in varsity, you make a mistake, you get yanked right out. There was a player at the time, I think her name was Katie Havens, she was a senior, and we came off the Christmas break. She was a point guard, so obviously I'm trying to battle her for time and getting in, trying to fit in and not be scared and intimidated by some of these more excelled players. And she had tore ACL right after the Christmas break, so she was done. And I remember we were playing Shelton. Yeah. We were playing Cheltenham. That might have been that game. I think it was the tour. We played Cheltenham, and I think we lost that game. But, like, the turnaround from that for me was like, no, I got to step up. I ended up was the best newcomer of the year by the Philadelphia Inquirer, but just going in and just playing. Like, I wasn't out like scoring 20-something points a game, but it was just the overall.
That's awesome.
Play. And so it's crazy. You think just in a half a season how things could progress, but. You support each other. My cousin Ashley, was a sophomore on that team. I don't think he had Miss Karanji's sister, Jen Karanji. Her sister came over, but it wasn't that year. Her sister came over, I think, the next year. But either way, like, you had everyone kind of rowdy around each other, and because of the injury for one of our star players and stuff. So that, and then working with Mr. Patterson, listening to Jen's father, who Miss Karanji's father, who was always on the sidelines, coach, you get that boost. But at the same time, I credit my mama. You always can get better. You know what I mean? Like, don't walk around thinking you're better than anybody. There's still steps you got to work on. My mom was an avid fan who would yell at me or anybody if you weren't doing right. So you had to had to get right, watching. We would go watch other games, but, around the league. If we didn't have a game, we're going to watch this team and watch these players. And you always wanted to be a step above those people. And so it's just, I'd keep the basketball and the track stuff within the basketball court in the field, track field. But at the end of the day, I still wanted to be a regular freshman, a regular sophomore. So, you still would hang out with the friends when you could and, still be in the mix of knowing what's going on and, all the silly stuff without getting in trouble, of course. I couldn't afford that. But, just that stuff. I mean, I was a lazy student. In freshman year, I was lazy. Your work purposes, so I had to kick my butt in gear. That's one thing, though. I was a lazy student.
When you were – I think you kind of answered it, but when you tell the story of the injury and then you stepping in, it sounds like a movie plot.
Yeah.
And what inevitably happens is the athlete that comes in to take the place excels, but from a personality standpoint, gets a big head, gets an attitude, has trouble kind of coming to grips with this idea that they're now starting in a position that maybe came from someone else's unfortunate. Mentally, what's that like being 15 years old?
I mean, it's honestly, it's crazy to think, but it wasn't something that was on my mind like that, because I think I've already, since playing at a younger age, you're going to make a mistake. I had already been getting yelled at, from the first half of the season, because it's like, you get in and you don't catch this pass, or you miss the play, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't, or sit down, So that, plus, like I said, I don't think my mom was hard on us, but she knew what it took to have to rise above and whatever, to get to that next level, or to not settle for just mediocrity. So
yeah,
it wasn't something that was like, oh yeah, I'm out here better. I knew that there was people out there better, so I would strive to try to improve myself.
Yeah. And
then, I knew my mom, I'd go to camps. I think at the end of that freshman year, I went to a point guard college. Just go to a point guard camp. Somewhere local. It was like a small, it might have been in Jersey. I think it was at the college in New Jersey or something. I don't know. It was a local college, and it was overnight, and you'd literally go and you study film. You know what I mean? You'd go and you'd watch film and you'd take notes. And then, so you get up in the morning, you eat breakfast, you go to the little classroom, you study film, you watch college players, NBA players, you listen to the instruction, you take notes, you go down and you apply those simple things that you just reviewed. Then you go to lunch, go back to class, take notes, go down. And this literally was all day, whereas most camps, you go and have fun. Coming out of that freshman year and going into that camp, that really helped focus my mind. And all right, is this my team? I got to make it my team. As a point guard, you're like a quarterback. So those type things, you become more of a leader in that aspect. And so I never really felt like I was better than the next person. If there was somebody out there doing better, I'd work on those skill sets. I mean, I had good role models around me. I always credit a lot to Mr. Patterson. Yeah. Since a young age, me and Ann came up together, and then her dad too, he would ride us. Ann perfected her 3-point shot and all this, but they would ride us. You know what I mean? So that, and Karanji was still to this day, I still talk to her. Yeah. But even though assistant, one of her daughter's first words was Jess, because I used to get screamed at so much. Her daughter was born, I think, I don't know if it was my junior or senior year, either way. Her daughter's first word was Jess, one of them, because she would run around. But it's, you think about the people you had that were there to humble you. So there wasn't room for me to even try to feel like I was better than, because of at a young age you're coming up. It's just, I always had to try to strive to work hard. Yeah. Even on the track, it was the same thing. I was never state champ. I got a state medal, but I was never state champ. Even though I might have been one of the better runners on our high school team, I still had people all around me that was gunning for me. And then still within the state, I was never state champ. I got 6th in the state my junior year in the 4, but never was number 1. You know what I mean? So you always have room to improve yourself.
As you're now going into high school, what was tougher for you competition-wise? Was it basketball or track? Or are they even comparable? I mean,
I wouldn't consider it comparable, because track, in a whole perspective, is it's an individual sport. You know what I mean? You have your relays, but you as a whole are individual in how you're handling stuff. So basketball is more the team. And so if I'm having a sluggish day, or if my day was off, and Ann or Ashley or Kathy or someone would step up to like take the role and say, I'm going to, handle it or, help you get your butt, head out of your behind or however you look at it. Track is like, you can have a good day, have a bad day, but your times spoke for themselves. That's what carried me on to get a scholarship was my times. It's like a track coach would come see you run and you're like, you didn't run that well. But consistently my times might have been, on point. So you couldn't really, the two, because they're individual and team sport, they can't really compare. I mean, I could score 6 points in a basketball game and be off all night, but my defense helped stop a lot of other scores on the other team, or, I might have been out getting rebounds or, just different things. Track, I mean, if you just have a bad run, if you're sick, you might not be breathing right, and it's just, it's all on you. Everything's on you. So
yeah. Socially for you, as you start getting into, as you're in high school now, what kind of things are you doing? I guess your combination now, it sounds like you had like a mix, right? If I was to stereotype and just say, who do I think Jess hung out with? I would say she hung out with like, it's funny. We coined the phrase in an interview I did with Kelly the other day, of the cool black kids. There's the black cool kids. Mm-hmm. There's Twitter and there's black Twitter. There's cool kids, and then there's the black cool kids. Yeah. Right. So I would have considered, like, I would have just thrown you in that's why I was laughing when I said I'm just naming black people who would have been in Brandon's group. But I guess I would have considered you in the black cool kids. But you've already named just like, you're hanging with the Italian girls, and Anne was a huge part of your life. And so it sounds like you from athletics, maybe you had a little bit of push, but even, just in life, you just kind of had a very mixed group, or is that right? Or
yeah, I mean, I look at it as a mix because I just personally never wanted to be coined to one group. Like, I feel like I'm cool with you. You might not be cool with the next group, but hey, they haven't done anything to me. You know what I mean? To put me in a predicament that would make me feel like I wasn't cool with them. You know what I mean? Like, they might not be in the in crowd, but they're still cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I looked at it. Because like I say, I look at my social media page, and it's like, even to this day, if I don't know you, I'm not at you. But if I, you think about even going back to middle school, like, you think like Alicia Conti, like I played ball with her. I think she played basketball like a WRA, and Melissa Morgantan, like they played ball WRA. So you get to know some of them, and like, you start coming up later on, like with Heather Goodwin, and some of those, and I didn't have, like, I was like, if we're in class together and we're cool, we laugh and joke, great. You might not hang out with these people, but it's still like, I'm cool with you, I'm cool here. You know what I mean? Like, which, like, even with my own children, I'm like, you don't need to, just because this person says don't hang, you hang out with that person because you want to, you know what I mean? And it's one of those, I guess it's kind of how I came up, because I think like my brother, who I was talking about Eric, but me and him are similar. Like, I call it twin, but 6 years apart. I kind of equated him not in the same way. And so maybe it's because I tried to model how he was, but he still was one that everybody knew, everybody liked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's an athlete he was a state champ. He was a state runner-up, didn't have a big head. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you look at it as I'm cool with everybody. If you didn't do nothing to anything wrong to me, then there's no problem. Like, there was a girl I think about, she ran track with us, went to high school with us, ran track. I don't know if you remember Jody Santangelo.
Yeah.
So I always laugh because she brought this up, and it's like, you don't remember the pen pal thing, but she brought up how I used to call her Pippi Longstocking when I was younger. But when she was on the track, because she used to have her little pigtails and she would run the distance. And she wasn't number one out there running these distance races, but either way, she's on my team. She's working hard. She might be scoring us points. And so she always remembers that. So, like, even now, if I send her a message like, hey, happy birthday, it's like, hey, you Pippi Longstocking. You know what I mean? Like, I never felt like it was a need to, like, separate anybody. If you didn't do nothing or you weren't doing nothing out of pocket, like, we were cool. You know what I mean? Like, now, granted, you might not be that cool with me where I'm like, hey, we're going to kick it on the weekend, but cool in the sense of like, hey, we'll chop it up, we'll talk in class,
Sure.
Crack a joke or whatever, but we might have not been that tight-knit where we were cool like that. Like, I'm going to go hang out with you somewhere, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like,
what were you doing as far as like social? It sounds like you're pretty heavy as far as, practice and learning, really. It sounds like it was so much more work. I think back to like stuff you hear about Kobe Bryant when you talk about, learning how to study film, things like that. That's something I didn't, going into this, I never even thought about. But for you socially, are you having time to do stuff outside of school with people? Are you dating? Are you hanging with girls? Are you able to do other stuff outside of studying and practice?
I mean, there was I even to this day, like I wasn't one to go out like all the time. Like that's just kind of, even in college, like you were tracking, everything was committed, but even on weekends we weren't doing nothing. It was like a small group of us that would hang together like in college. And me and Kristen were pretty close. We would go to the mall, like, sometimes the internet or my cousin Brooke, who was a year or two underneath, like, we some of us would get together. Bianca, actually me, Kristen and Bianca did a lot of hanging out together in high school. And then like, I'm trying to think, I didn't go to parties like that. I think Brandon a couple times, he might've had some things at his house, or people like, or we just get together, maybe watch movies or whatever. But like, I wasn't one to be looking for that next party. And that's not saying it was like my sporting background or something like that. It was too much. It was just kind of, a lot of it was because I knew sometimes my mom was going to say no. And then, we actually did go to the Y a lot the first couple of years of high school. Friday night at the Y.
Teen night.
We did used to go to teen night. Dating wise, I don't think I really had a real steady, like, it was people I liked or whatever. I would always speak up for other people, or I know people's business, but I never spoke up for myself to like, I went to the semi-formal freshman year, and then I didn't do any other dances till prom senior year, but it wasn't like, I didn't feel the need to like have to go. Like, I could have went with friends and I had to have a date, but the first like real boyfriend I had was, I think going into senior year, I met a guy. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club in Lansdale.
Oh.
And I met a guy, he was from North Penn. And we dated for a period of time, up until like to the summer, up until the start of the school year. And then, really not seeing each other, and, things happen. And then I think towards the end of the year, or right before I went to college, I had somebody, but I think I was just, a lot of times I knew my mom wasn't going to let me go out and do nothing, but I wasn't tripping like that. I mean, we went there was parties we went to, whatever, but like, I know there used to be like, I think it was Alea who talked about the parties at the hotel. Like I can't remember which, the parties that used to be.
She talked about like a New Year's Eve party that she was with Bianca, that they were just like, let's roll to this party. And there was a party popping off and everyone was there.
There used to be parties at the Holiday Inn. Like I remember people talk about them, but I didn't really, I wasn't like nothing against it. Just really never.
Yeah.
I used to hang out like Tanisha Joel. Like I would go with my mom. My mom was one of them parents, like, if I don't know their mother or whatever, like, you're not going, which I can understand now as a parent, because I'm protective, obviously, where my children go and what type of environment they're around. But like Danisha Joel, like, we'd hang out there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just smaller things like that. But like teen night, I remember teen night sticks out a lot. Friday night at the Y, like the first 2 years of high school, like we would just meet up there, and my mom drop us off, and we get picked up. So that was cool. It's something different, to get out. But I really wasn't tripping off of dating all that much. And I think a lot of it is because, I was young and, I like people, you had crushes on people, but it was like I was involved in what I was doing, and I was content with that. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and the part of the even though most people wouldn't probably ever advise or describe me as shy, when it came to like that concept of trying to like get in the dating scene or whatever, I was scared as hell. Like I'm talking to someone, not if you in the mix with them, fine, but like just the starting portions of that, like I was cool. Like, keep it simple.
Yeah, I was very, very similar in that way. And I wonder if was like other stuff that you were doing, was that like an excuse for you or an easy way out to kind of avoid dating because you were shy in that way?
Possibly. I mean, the shyness was coming in effect of like me trying to like generate that whole like, hey, I like you, or however that awkwardness starts off. But I would send other people to do my work. I used to do it in college too. Like, hey, go tell so-and-so, like, so the actual real, what I would call like real first relationship, I call it like that, because I might have been talking to somebody or whatever, but like you're real full, like your mom knows, like she's not tripping, you going on these dates. He initiated it all to start. So it's like, it makes it easier, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that the sports blocked it, because there was people like, you might have been like talking to, or you might have tried to, but just the whole moving over that first hump, it was a matter of like just shyness, or maybe just didn't go nowhere. So,
yeah,
or whatever like that. But
so no love and basketball story for you?
no, I seen the movie though, but I went to the movie theater. So no, I mean, once like I said, the guy I dated from North Penn, he was cool. He played ball, but it's a different, like he started to feel himself a little bit because he had lost some weight right before we started dating, and things didn't, you go your separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably the only person I played ball with. The guy I went to the prom with, we was cool, but he went to school, a different school too.
Okay.
It's funny how like through Whistle Hick and all them years, I never actually dated anybody the 4 years.
Yeah, well, I didn't either. So, and that's, I find that, I think probably so far, most people have said they either dated someone from like outside of the school, or maybe didn't date at all.
Yeah.
And so, I always looked at dating as more of a social thing. And for me, my friends didn't date. And so how was I, it just wasn't a thing that my group of friends did. Did your friends date? That you
I remember Leia had, a boyfriend or two over some time. I'm trying to think. Bianca, I think it was more of a social communication type thing. I don't know if anybody fully dated. There might have been a couple, but Antoinette, Nettie she was dating Aubrey for those couple.
Oh, right, sure. Now you said you were a lazy student, especially in ninth grade. What was going on with you academically, I guess?
I was lazy in elementary and middle school, just trying, not getting the work in where you're supposed to. Like I'd do the work, but like I'd be like, I think the best way to put it in sixth grade, I think was his name, Mr. Whitaker. I think that was my teacher in sixth grade.
I had Mr. Whitaker.
Yeah.
Oh, so we were in sixth grade together. God.
Probably. He told my mom during the conference that I would, see my grade and see that it was low and then do whatever I need to do to get it up. So it was more of a, I was lazy throughout all the school except my last year and a half of college. Like my mom didn't believe when I made the dean's list, like my last year. Like she got the letter. Yeah. Like I told her, and she was like, no, you didn't, because I was such a lazy student until she got the letter in the mail to say, hey, your daughter made. So I credit my last 2 years of college where I actually got my GPA up for graduation. You know what I mean? Like I did work. Yeah, I was lazy. I think it's like, you're just like, I don't want to do this work, or there'll be projects or like you wait to the last minute, but it wasn't, it wasn't like purposeful. I think it was just, I was just a lazy student, you don't want to do the work.
You never had any trouble though, as far as like staying eligible or anything like that. You were never that bad.
No, I think my freshman year I might have been close, and I think which class was it? That class we went to we went to the Italian market. What was his name?
Mr. Lazar.
Yeah, I think that class, my grade got low where they were like, hey, if you don't get this up, you ain't gonna be playing. So I was like, oh, okay. But nothing that made me actually have to sit out completely and sit on the bench and not play at all.
Everyone brings up Mr. Lazar.
That probably was the last time where I actually didn't complete what needed to be completed, where it could have been a square that year, freshman year with his class. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I didn't have I had, what was her name? Miss Lee for math I remember me and Brandon being in Miss Lee's class, talking, being bad, and we're like, all right, we can't get bad. We can't get auntie mad. We just call her auntie.
That's funny. Did you have anything in school that you were into outside of sports? Anything that you had a passion for, or
like different type? No, I guess only thing that I used to do a lot was write. Like I used to write a lot of poems or something like that. Like I had a book the last couple of years. But other than that, I never put anything else like that. I wasn't into I didn't do any theater or nothing like that. I think like I said, we're a sports family. It occupied so much that it never if I wanted to do something else, my mom would have definitely supported it. But yeah, I don't know, because even my what is my degree in? So my degree, it's human development and family studies with a youth concentration. Okay. So if I didn't get into law enforcement, I probably would be doing some more youth work, and that's kind of what I've been branching out and doing now to kind of line some stuff up when I eventually retire. But
okay.
Other than that, I mean, I liked a lot of music. I knew all the They used to call me the jukebox in college. Just knew all the, I had to have a whole wide array of music.
Okay, so we talked about some music stuff, and you were talking about memory. You were talking about some memories that you have in music. I have a song that I attribute to you all the time. This song is like your song because for some reason I heard you singing it, and Black Cool Kids. I was like, this song is the song. I gotta know this song. Is it Something for the People? Boy,
oh,
you
wow.
never find another love as good as this. So you better
I do recall singing that song a lot. That's
my love is the
bomb, baby. I remember singing that song a lot.
So Kelly and I were talking about this the other day, and my favorite part is like that verse when he just kicks in with that voice that you keep calling me on the telephone. Yeah, so that is like
that
the
early
song.
90s mixes, some early 90s mixes.
90, I think it's like 98. No, it's like 98. It's probably 10th grade. So I have memory of you singing that in a class, and anytime I listen to that song, I'm like, oh, that's the Jess Davis song.
That's funny. There's a lot, yeah. Music, I mean, I don't know. It's maybe because my brother did music, and then like my mom, my mom knows a lot of, old school songs. Like I remember listening right in the car with my dad. So it's like even now, like I don't even listen to the music out now really anymore. Like I think I know certain stuff because of my children or something that might be shown on like a video you see on social media or something. But all my old school stuff, like I like Pandora, Drew Hill Pandora or this, or, if I'm feeling it, I'll go to like 90s pop or 80s pop or something,
Sure.
Whatever, like Backstreet, my husband thinks I'm crazy. You listen to that mess, I'm like, no, you got to you branch out, but.
Our era, some of the best music of all time.
I can't get with music now. I can't, unfortunately.
Every once in a while, it's usually
crazy.
Comical. It's very rare that there's any music that like gets me. It's usually something I don't expect, like an Ed Sheeran song, and I go, "Oh, this is nice."
Yeah, I don't even listen to the radio really anymore, and I can't. I don't know. Everybody's, each time frame changes, but I feel like this one's a huge change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 'cause I'm like my oldest is 10. I'm just like, oh Lord. Even the dance moves, I'm like, all right, you have at it.
Were you a good dancer?
I don't equate it to good dance. I think I knew some of the dance moves or whatever. Even now, like I'm looking at, since people are locked up, all the TikToks coming up.
Yeah.
And I just my daughter knows all this stuff. And I'm like, how do you know it? You're 5. But I don't know about a good dancer. I think I was able to, I had rhythm.
Yeah.
If I could learn a dance move and be fine, but I wouldn't call myself like, oh, this or that, I wasn't out here like some of these people were, like we said, Scott breakdancing or Brandon used to be out there doing all this stuff. But
I'm so jealous. I had no rhythm at all.
We didn't even really have any school dances like that. You think about it. We had like the basic ones, and then like I remember going to homecoming one year and you're like, this is whack. Like just
I never went to any of the high school dances. I used to go to the middle school dances. I think
middle school was funner.
I didn't dance. I would just hang on the wall, but I would watch. And I remember like seeing Gene and I remember seeing all the girls in there, just like everyone was getting down.
That's normally how it was. Middle school, the guys stood around on the side, and then
standing
the
on the wall.
would be dancing. unless you were in a dating relationship. Mm-hmm. If they were like a couple, then they would dance.
Right. And then high school, I don't know. I guess homecoming, but there weren't like other dances in high school.
I mean, you had your winter formal, the semi-formal, and the proms. But I only remember like one. I feel like we lost a lot. I lost out on a lot. They didn't have a lot of dances. I don't know why. Well, I remember one year going construction. It might be because I remember one year, my junior year maybe or senior, we went to homecoming. We were like, this is whack. It was in the old school gym, and like we're like, okay, this is whack.
I do remember hearing that like people would go to homecoming and then leave as soon as they walked in. They would go, show up, and then walk out.
Yeah, like it was we had no way to get home, so we were just like, oh, we'll hang outside the gym. But I'm trying to think a couple people I remember going to a couple people's parties. I remember Nicole Fortune. I remember she had like a Sweet 16 birthday party or something. I think like that. I remember going to her party. It was like had music, and then Might have been one or two others. I think I remember going to a party in Norristown. Like we used to meet guys from Norristown, either through track or whatever. And there was like a party at the Carver Center. I remember my senior year. We all went to. But other than that, there was really unless somebody had a house party, there was nothing going on.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why. We lost privileges to a lot because I remember senior year we didn't get to do a lot because of the class before us.
Oh.
I remember like there was like little things that for some reason I feel like we couldn't go off campus and do like go off campus for lunch because of the class before. Like the class before us messed up so much, and we used to.
I don't think so. Here's what I remember about going off campus for lunch. They closed the cafeteria for construction. They closed the senior cafeteria for construction because they closed that whole area down. Mm-hmm. And so while that was going on, they only had the downstairs cafeteria. So seniors were allowed to leave. Only seniors, I think, were allowed to leave during that time.
Yeah.
And I think it did get out of control, and kids weren't coming back, or kids were coming back messed up. It was something,
because at first I thought we weren't going to be able to do the boat cruise, the Spirit of Philadelphia, but we ended up being able to do that because of the class before something happened where they came on the boat. A bunch of the seniors were drunk. And
it happens everywhere, right?
I know. So, but we did end up getting to do that. I remember because I think it was recently I found a picture in one of my scrapbooks from that trip, and sent it to Ann. I think it might have been around her birthday or Justin's birthday. I think it was something recent. I found it and I took a picture of her and Justin sitting there because they were dating. It was like one of the tables on the boat, and I sent it to her. She laughed. It was such a, it was an old picture from like old
yeah, yeah. So but, you still talk to Ann somewhat?
Yeah. When I was home, the last time I saw her, because I had planned to go see her when I came out this later this year, but we'll see how that goes and when I can actually make it. But when I was home, let me see, might have been the last time my kids spent the summer. So it would have been 15 or I think it might have been 15 or 16, 2015, 16. I had went out and I had met up with her and we had our kids together. I was playing at our house in Ambler. And we laughed because we got the same amount of kids, 2 boys and a girl. But
yeah,
it was cool. And I was trying to see if I could link up with her dad. He wasn't there, so I'm hoping. But we still, we still communicate. There's a core of people I still communicate with. I try to, when I'm home. A lot of times when I'm home, I just want to chill. You know what I mean? But you got to see who you can see.
Yeah.
But I saw a good amount of people when Antoinette got married.
A couple years ago, right?
Yeah. So I was out there. And saw like a handful of people, like people like I really don't even, you don't communicate with like that, but you still obviously know from growing up. So I saw them at her wedding, and then periodically I see people. But when I'm home, you try to catch up with family the best you can, and
yeah,
or just chill. It's vacation, so I don't run around all over the place. But social media, you see everybody anyway.
Well, when you talk to Ann, I need you to tell her that I need her to do the podcast when we're unquarantined again.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ann is the first girl I ever loved. So this podcast kind of needs her. I kind of need her.
We'll make sure she listens so we get her and tell her she's got to do it when every shelter in place.
Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. She's going to listen to this one. I just said that. I don't know if she's even listened to the podcast, so I messaged her.
You never know. I mean, the thing is, you never know, but she might pick up on it. Most people pick up on stuff now that we're in this quarantine and lockdown.
I know, but I usually find that it's when it's it's someone that they know, then that's what gets them listening. When
you might have listened to Kelly, because you just did one with Kelly Brook, right?
I did do one Kelly Brook. Yeah.
So it depends, you know what I mean?
Oh, God. Well, Ann, it's true. What can I say?
You might have to fight Justin, but no, I'm just
I ran into Justin. I've actually seen Justin like in the last few years. I ran into him at Wawa a couple years ago, and it was good to see him. I had never had any problems with Justin, but there's definitely like a twinge in me that's like, God, he got her, and I never even had a shot. I wasn't even close. I wasn't even like trying, but
yeah, it's the thought process. You never know.
I just go.
You might have never known.
I just go. Damn it, Justin, huh? God, it's natural. I can't. I reminisce about everything,
That's funny.
So for you then, when you're in school, lazy student, but you start pulling yourself up, and sports is probably primary, I'm guessing, then in your head a bit. But what did you think, when you're 16, 17, you're in high school, are you thinking about your future? Your brother's obviously, had a great sports career at Seton Hall. Are you thinking that you can be an athlete in college and then figure it out from there? Is there anything that you want to do with your life as you're going through high school?
The future was being thought of because, being involved in AAU, I stopped doing the AAU track when I was in middle school, and I just started focusing on AAU basketball. So I would get letters from colleges, and then I was a younger senior, so at 16, I'm knowing there's potential for me to maybe get a scholarship. So
you were at 16. You were a senior.
Ending junior year. I didn't turn 18. Okay. Yeah, I didn't turn 18 until 2 weeks before I went to freshman year of college, because I was an August baby. So
okay.
But being junior 16 where some are mostly 17 and you're getting letters,
right.
I was, then they're calling in regards to basketball. You're at these tournaments, there's college recruiters, or people watching, and then there's a couple of tournaments that I could do solo where it's just me and I'm on showcase, which you're playing on a team, but they're seeing your abilities solo outside of your AAU team. So I knew that was an option. And it was just a decision of, do I want to run track college or do I want to play basketball? So what I ended up doing, I got the letters and I was getting the phone calls from, people for basketball. Track-wise, I said, I wanted to see, because I was started thinking about, well, if I run track in college, I was I probably can do a lot better. I'm only running a couple months out of the year. My times are decent. If I ran year-round, because I had never run indoor, if I run year-round, how will that transfer? So, what I did was I'd email coaches from certain schools, just say, hey, this is me. Here's my times in regards to track, because basketball, they already knew about me. And I started getting, I did a couple of visits, did a couple of unofficial and official visits. For track, I did.
You emailed colleges?
So, yeah, coming into my senior year.
How did you know to do that?
Just because we doing the background from my brother, and then just people you talk to, knowing what he did. So you just find out information. Pretty much track is a sport you got to sell yourself in. And so in some aspects, unless if you're not number one all across the world, you're the country, you got to sell yourself in. And your times and your marks, I used to long jump too, are your bait. You're hey, this is what I'm running, and then they can look it up, and then they can do the research on you. So I think I started sending out information to schools, just different schools around local, I started hitting up Ohio, local school, Pennsylvania, Ohio, that area, because I ended up going to school in Ohio. And then it turns out one of the track coaches at Kent State, where I ended up going, he recognized my last name and knew that he remember watching my brother. So he used to be at Pittsburgh. He used to run.
Wait. Your last name is Davis.
Mm-hmm.
How many there's got to be a lot of Davises.
Well, he put it together because of track. You think about okay, this person's involved in the sport, and last name's Davis. She's from the Philadelphia area.
He was that good.
Brother, yeah. So
wow.
Eric, like I said, indoor wise, he was a state champ and state runner up indoor in the 2 or the 4. Either way, between indoor and outdoor, I don't know. I can't remember specifics, but indoor and outdoor season, junior and senior year, he was state champ and state runner up within indoor-outdoor purpose and the seasons. This particular coach is from Pittsburgh, and he was he remembered Eric from club track, remembered his name, and then looked at I think what he did is he looked at where I was from and whatever, and then started to do the research, found that was his sister, so started pursuing him.
Wow,
so he was at that time. It's crazy.
That's that would be like a basketball coach going, Johnson. I wonder if that's Irvin Johnson's sister. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's or Miller. That's Miller. God, I wonder if that's Cheryl Miller's brother. You know what I mean? That's crazy. It just speaks to how good your brother.
Because and the thing about it is, the high school, we don't have a common name high school. So you look at Wissahickon, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
So he, at that time, he was at Kent State, and so he was the associate head coach. So I went out there for a visit, and ended up, that's the school I ended up choosing. I was looking looking at Akron as well. For track, I went on a few basketball visits. One school in particular is actually where did I go? St. Peter's. It was St. Peter's College in Jersey City, but it's now St. Peter's University. And it's funny because that's where my niece got a scholarship to run track. Oh. But I was looking at them for basketball. And then there was a couple of schools up in Connecticut, the Central Connecticut State, that was looking at me for basketball. But then I think I just started to run with the track thing. And so I just started to push forward with that. I went to Villanova for a visit. And then Kent, so I was debating on staying to Villanova. And I looked at them, but then Kent State had offered me, and I was like, well, they had offered me a scholarship, but I was like, let me see. I still want to look at Villanova. Was thinking about going to Villanova. Then they're like, oh, we're not going to give you anything. I'm like, okay, well, damn. So, I mean.
Major decision for you.
Yeah. So I ended up going to Kent. And then at the same time, I didn't want to be super close to home. I'm very family oriented, but I was like, just a change of scenery. I could hop on a train and be home if I went to Villanova, but I wanted a kind of a change of scenery. So. Yeah. Went to Kent, but it's funny because, like you say, that coach, he said, I remember your brother, and and so just from the track circuit. I mean, Eric was running AAU since middle school, so he was just well known all those years, and I think it was just the proximity of the area, like what these two names are the same.
Yeah, that's just
the area, and then I think he just started doing his research, so it's pretty cool. But I like cool. The choosing of the school for me was Kent State had a very good family atmosphere. I went on to my recruit visit. There was multiple other recruits for different sporting, different elements of tracks, throws and distance and sprinters. So it was like a track meet. Then we went to their banquet. Then they took us out to a party. And then the next day I went to the coach's house and they had everyone there for dinner. So it was like very close knit. When I went to Akron, it was kind of different. It was like, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. Like it was very, so I was like, I'm going to choose Kent. And I'm glad, I don't go against that decision. It was still a great experience, but it's cool. So,
were those the only two schools? Did you actually visit Villanova?
Yeah, I actually went on an official visit with Villanova. It was in the spring, I remember, because it was like we were doing senior class show practices, rehearsals during that time. So it was like in the spring. So it was pretty late. Pretty late in the decision making. Well, where one would think for the decision making time frame, but it was before Penn Relays. It might have been early April, I remember. But that visit was not bad. But then I had to go sit in the class. I had to sit in class with my host. I was like, I had to sit like a 45-minute philosophy class, and I was like, this is for the birds.
Yeah, you still weren't like into.
No, I was like, I'm gonna sit through this 45-minute philosophy class, like. But I know, that was my host. So I had to hang out with the host for whatever. But the difference was that was during the week. My other visits were on the weekend. So I think that's what it was. Like they had to
see the social life.
Mm-hmm. So, I think, I'm trying to think, there might have been a few other track schools that hit me up. But I think I honed in on a couple, like my official visit, because really you can only do 5 official visits. You can do as many.
What do you mean can only do?
So the NCAA provides you with the opportunity to do 5 official visits, meaning that they pay for you to come and visit the school.
Oh,
I can do as you can do, and that number may have very well changed from the time when I did this, but back then it was 5, and then you could do as many unofficial as you want. You can go visit as many schools as you want, talk to the people without them paying for it, but it's on your own dime. But if they're paying for it, you can only do 5. And you can't run the system and say, well, can I do 5 track and 5 basketball? It was 5 total.
Do you have to qualify? Do you have to qualify for something like that? Do you have to be like a certain level of athlete?
No, if the schools hit you up, they're interested and they say, hey, you want to come visit? And we'll pay for you, then yeah, they use that. Because I think with a couple of my visits, or at least the Akron one, when I went to University of Akron, it's like I had a basketball, it's actually the Kent State one too. I had a basketball game that Friday night. And so most of the people for Kent State came in on Friday night. They came in on Saturday morning. So you put you on a plane, and I got up Saturday morning, could go on a plane, and flew to Ohio and spent the whole day just going crazy, like just running around doing stuff and, attending the school. Awesome. And then left to come home that Sunday night. So that's on their dime. They provide you with food. And so what I learned when I got to college, and I actually was a host for a potential recruit, they provide you get a site, you get money so that you buy them food and you do all that. You get money for their visit. So that's what they do. You have a host and they provide you whatever you're hungry, they feed you, they take you and do stuff. So
that's pretty cool. What so you obviously you chose Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
was it ever even close? Was that growing up, I guess? Did you have any idea or a thought? For me, like Temple was like, my family didn't go to school, didn't go to college. And so my dad did like a couple semesters or a couple years maybe at Temple. And, you know, he grew up as like a Cosby fan and he was the Temple guy. So for me, like once I saw Temple was the only school I even wanted to go to. Was there a school for you that was like?
I was looking, I actually, middle school and some high schools, I liked Stanford. I had actually, my mom sent me to Stanford 2 years. For two years, I think I went to their basketball camp. Was it 1 or 2 years? I can't remember, but I know I had family out here, so I would always come out to California. But I initially, at one point, my mom was going to let me come out here and finish my last 2 years of basketball and go to Berkeley High, where a couple of my family members had already graduated from, and I had an aunt that lived in Berkeley. But she ended up, you know, we decided against it, not against it, but just decided not to do it. But I even came out here. I actually wanted to come out here for college initially, but I came out here to do one of those basketball showcases where it was just over the weekend, and it's just me, and I think it was at University of San Francisco. I came out, and you had 3 games. Each player had 3 games. So they put you on a team. You never play with these people, but obviously you know how to play ball. You know how to move without the ball, make your own, make yourself open, make your shots, you know, do whatever. So I came out and did that, and then I started getting letters from UOP, University of Pacific. It's a D1 school in Stockton, out here. It's probably from the Bay Area, about an hour and a half, Stockton. But I was actually looking at them. You know, I was wanting to come out here. But you know how you look at your options and how everything's set up, and obviously Stanford, I would have had to really been a better student. You know, I mean, I call myself like a B student, but I would have had to, you know, done better on my SATs and done better to go out there. So, you know, you weigh your options, but I do remember always talking about Stanford and, you know, all of that. But overall, I think when it came down to it, my junior year, I was just looking at schools that I would have felt comfortable in, would have been a good fit. And, you know, I don't think Kent State, I enjoyed every aspect of Kent State. I made some great relationships. So, like, I feel like I made a good decision. Yeah. I'd go back and do all that again, whereas most people, you might, you know, sometimes you may not, you would change this or that. I don't think any portion of my college career could be changed. I enjoyed, you know, we won several conference championships in track. I built some great relationships with people, you know, and just overall it was fun. So I don't think I would change that, you know.
I remember there's 2 things I know about Kent State, and one of them was when I saw you were going to Kent State on Facebook, like many, many, many years ago when we were in college. I was like, oh, well, Jess goes to Kent State. That's the one thing I knew. The other thing is, like, they had that was where the big riot happened in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, it was
during the Vietnam War.
Yeah, May 4th, 1970. So coming in as a freshman, I didn't know anything when I applied there and, you know, decided to go there. But my mom, obviously, she talked about the, what's his name? I can't think of his name, the musical artist that does all them songs. I can't think of his name right now, but he does the song. He did a song back in the 70s for, like, things going on. And his name just slips my mind right now. But he had a song.
Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye?
No, it's a white rock. Why can't I think of his name?
Cat Stevens?
No. Can't think of his name. It's going to come to me. But he did a song. It was called "4 Dead in Ohio," and
I'll look it up.
My mom, she that's what the first thing I'm like, huh? She said, "Oh, so and so." What? I can't think of his name.
Neil Young.
Who?
Neil Young.
Yeah. So he did that song, and that's what she remembered. And so, you know, then we learned about it. There's like the 12th floor of the library is dedicated to all those people and the situation that transpired during that time. And we had like an orientation class, you know, freshman year, you have orientation class, and they talked about that. And then they have like memorials all over on the ground. So like people would come back every year around finals time and they long, scraggly hair, looking like hippies or whatever, but just to serve for that memorial. This actually is crazy. This would have been the 40-year anniversary? 50-year anniversary. 50? 1970. So yeah, they 50-year anniversary. Yeah, so they and it's obviously not going on because of this whole pandemic. But
right, wow,
this would have been the 50-year anniversary for that.
And I called it a riot, and that's the wrong. So it was more like a political.
Yeah, I mean, there was people who were on campus that were, you know, protesting this and that. They called it the National Guard, and then unfortunately 4 people who were actually just kind of going about their day. were shot by several officers of the National Guard because they were trying to diffuse the crowd. So that's why it's such a big thing, because those 4 people who were injured in this had nothing to do with the
National Guard,
protest.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So that's an interesting, piece. But there's still some good people that came out of Kent State. Tone Gates, Edelman.
Well, I don't know.
Antonio Gates.
No.
Antonio Gates.
Oh, God, the player. Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Edelman, Julian
I've never
Edelman.
known anyone to like just drop his name like that out. Antonio Gates. Wait, what?
Yeah. I knew I was actually cool with him. He played ball. He played basketball. That was actually pretty cool.
Wow.
With him my freshman and sophomore year. Julian Edelman, I didn't know him. He came in my last semester. And then what's his name? I don't know if you remember Josh Cribbs, but he was a punt returner for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
He signed in as a free agent his senior year. But I came in together. Freshman year, we came in together, so he's a good dude. But those are for big names that would know. I mean, obviously, Antonio Gates is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the main ones. But yeah.
Did you ever see another movie that's I'm going to ask you about now, because it's the other I've asked you about basketball. Now there's the track movie, Higher Learning.
Oh yeah, you got what's her name? Tyra Banks and Omar.
Tyra Banks.
There you go.
It's Deja.
Deja, yep. Take you back to Tony Tone.
Yes. Ask of You.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's one of my favorite
movies. And then you put me there. You talk about Tony Tone, and that's they Bay Area. They're Oakland. They're from Oakland.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I guess my husband told me where he grew up. He knew their mom. Well, the two ones who Raphael Sadiq's mom.
Raphael Sadiq. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's the same. He grew up in the same portion of Oakland, the same kind of I guess it'd be in the East Oakland. I mean, they could have the 60s and 70s around that area, the avenues. So
I love Raphael Sadiq. I got to see him finally last year at the Roots Picnic for the first time. He performed with Questlove backing him.
Oh wow!
It was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I saw him a couple years ago. It was a performance. We have this spot. It's like an outdoor amphitheater, and they do.
That's where I saw him. Yeah.
So it was him, Maxwell, Jasmine Sullivan, and there was one other big name artist.
Indy R.A.
No.
Angie Stone.
No. I can't think of who the other one was, but either way, I think Maxwell was
Carl Thomas.
Oh no, I haven't heard Carl Thomas in a minute.
Genuine.
I don't know. I think that surprised me because that night, unfortunately, was the start of one of the major fires that they had out here. That same night happened. So it was like, that's why I was like, that night's memorable only because of that's when that one of the first big fires, one of the two big fires that occurred out here in this area. But,
it bums me out because it makes me think of like I was supposed to go to the Roots Picnic this year, and we had like such a huge crew of friends that were going to come with us, and this wasn't even like a headlining act. It was just a little side stage thing, like the Raphael Sadiq thing I saw last year. And it was going to be Music Soul Child, Brandy, and SWV.
Wow.
I was just like, that's all I wanted to see. That's all I wanted to see. And now that's...
Well, the way people are being creative now, they put that stuff on social media.
No, I was going to see it in Fairmount Park. It was going to be in or at the Mann Music Center.
Oh,
it was like in the grass.
That'd have been perfect. Yeah, that's like how that place that they have the outdoors right there. They got seating, but then they have a grass area.
Yep. And then Meek Mill was going to be the headliner, but that was going to be backed by the Roots.
That'd been nice.
Meek Mill playing live with the Roots.
That'd have been real nice.
That would have been good. So I'm still crying over that. So for you then, graduation, you picked Kent State. Leaving the area, emotional? I mean, what was graduation like for you and leaving Wissahickon and the area altogether?
I didn't call it emotional. I feel like, to me, I looked at it as like, this is the end of this chapter. I mean, I knew that I'd be coming back to the area, obviously, but it was just something, like, hey, I'm ready to pick up and move forward with the next chapter. Like, I'd come home, like, I knew my mom and my dad and people would still be in the area. So I was home. Let me see. Well, holidays, I'd come home, periodically see people. My freshman year, I ended up going back to Kent State. My lazy student night just kicked in, and I had to do a summer class so I could make sure I could continue my second semester. So that was my wake-up call. But my second year, make sure I continue my second year. But I went back. I came home for just a couple weeks, and then went back for summer school. I think my sophomore year, I came out to Cali and worked. And was it sophomore year? No, sophomore year I might have stayed at home. And then maybe it was a junior year and a senior year I came out here.
But for you, like leaving, I mean, I know it's Ohio, but, just leaving and going, 6 to 8 hours away, no big deal for you?
No, I think, and a part of it was because I was always on the go with traveling with AAU basketball and track. I was always on the go. So, like, for me, it was just like, this is just a new chapter. I mean, granted, yeah, the beginning portion was hard, especially with leaving and then, 2 weeks into your freshman year, 9/11 occurring. So I think that was probably the toughest because it was like, number one, my niece was born that morning
wow.
in North Jersey. So like, getting that phone call from my mom, like, kind of frantic, but not completely frantic because she couldn't get a hold of my brother. And then, he lived in North Jersey and everything going on. And, my sister had just had my nephew 4 days before. So it was like, you got a newborn nephew at home.
Yeah.
I'm away from home. I don't know anybody out here other than, so I was grateful at that point to have the track family because like, I was like, until I could find out that my brother was good, like I kind of, they canceled classes and stuff, but I just kind of waited in the track office with the family. Like, I was like, I just want to make sure my family's good. So that probably was like the thing where it's like crazy, like where you're like, man, I'm away from home. Like I want people I really don't know. But at the same time, it causes you to rally around people that you're not 100% cool with yet and build a stronger bond. But after that, nothing, it was cool. Like I'd come home because I knew I'd be home for Penn relays. I knew I'd be home for the holidays and stuff like that. So I tried to see some people when I could. But to me, because I was always on the go. And even in the summer months when I was in high school, I would come out to Cali sometimes. So like it was just the start of a new chapter. It wasn't like I was like emotional more so than I'm ready to start this new chapter and, see what's on the agenda for it.
So we're talking 01. The WNBA had like just started up when we were in high school.
Yeah, like late 90s.
97, 98. So for you, was at any point basketball was your true love? Was at any point, and this is what NBA players do, and I'm going to assume that, the WNBA pick wasn't like this, the talent probably in the first year wasn't incredible, never is for a starting league. Was there any part of you while you're going through college or you just get to college and this WNBA is just starting where you think maybe I could, running is not a league, right? Running is world championships, Olympics, certain regional meets. Yeah. But once you become, an adult, more or less, you're training for one big thing. Was there any part of you that said maybe the WNBA could be a thing?
Not necessarily WNBA, but I did my sophomore year. Sophomore year, junior year. I think it was sophomore year. I don't remember, one of those years, sophomore or junior year. Might have been junior year, actually. I'm sorry. My junior year, I did try to go and be a walk-on for the Kent State team.
Oh.
And I actually did go and communicate with the assistant staff. Yeah, it was my junior year, actually. I went and communicated with the basketball staff or whatever, and did it was crazy because like they wanted you to come and do like a tryout as a walk-on. And then they knew me. They knew I was already a student there. Knew I was on the track team. And it was interesting because like it was me and one other girl, and they had me demonstrating. They're like, "Hey, can you demonstrate this drill for this?" I was like, "Sure," because they would say, "We want you to do blah blah blah." But I had to demonstrate it. Yeah, so I was like, "Okay." So I remember doing that, and then they're like, "Well, like after you get an email like we're deciding not to take any walk-ons this year." And then I talked to some of the girls, and they're like, "Oh, there was a girl who was a walk-on, who essentially was my freshman year, that just completely like was hard, like not horrible as a player, but just." Kind of made them have a distasteful for walk-ons. So they were like, that's why they weren't going to bring anybody on. And then I think my track coach also said something to them too. So I just laughed.
Didn't want to lose you?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, it is what it is. But I just laughed because I actually had to demonstrate I was like, so we didn't want you to do such and such drill. Can you demonstrate? I was like, you got me out there demonstrating, just put me on the team. But it was like, whatever.
Wow.
So, I mean, like I said, it crossed my mind. Even my brother was like, you sure you want to run track in college? But I mean, like I said, I ended up having a decent college career. But it did cross my mind. I wouldn't say like WNBA, because even still to this day, in my standpoint, WNBA players don't receive the same notoriety and
sure.
I wouldn't call it respect, but in the sense it is respect that the NBA players receive. And a lot of it's because, unfortunately, it's a woman's sport. Do many people watch it like that?
But we didn't know that in 2001, 2002. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was a brand new thing. And so, like Tiger Woods playing golf, who knows the effect that it'll have on an entire population 15, 20 years down the road. Yeah. As the WA is taken off, who knows what now, players now that were watching the WNBA when we were that age. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious in that sense, if like things, I don't know, I guess this is probably part of my problem in life. I look back too much. I wonder what if, and in my head, I guess I'm just going like, man, like I love basketball. And I think of like Allen Iverson, right? Like Iverson was a basketball and a football guy. And he always says if he could have gone back and done football, he would have, but his basketball coach wouldn't let him play at Georgetown. And so I always just wonder, like, WNBA is coming in. It's like, fuck, I would have loved to push for that. Or, I don't know if coming out of high school is a thing in the WNBA, but like going overseas and playing over there and then coming back and going pro. Was any of that from basketball? Did you ever want to just at least finish up college with track, but then pursue basketball down the road? Was that ever a thing that you thought you could get into?
No, I always had a passion for basketball, but I don't think I've ever thought of it like that. I think once I made the decision to pursue track, I was like, all right, and then I think wanting to play on the team was just like, I could probably do this. And it just, it wasn't in the cards at the time, but it wasn't. Once I finished, I felt like then I started to think about like the stuff I do now is giving back in regards to like the coaching and the stuff that I try to do now. Yeah. But it wasn't like something that the what if factor. Only what if is like, hey, what if I played college basketball? But it wasn't like could I have gone to the next level? You know what I mean? Like that way. But I don't have regrets. It more so of like if the roles reversed, I wonder if my college experience would have been the same in regards to the individuals that I crossed paths with and the team, my atmosphere and all that stuff. So
yeah. What came first for you, meeting your husband or being intrigued by police duty?
Oh, so we met through work. We're the people in the same department. So but I moved out here with the intention of working in juvenile hall. Was
this after college?
Yeah. So what I did,
obviously after college, but
yeah, the semester before I graduated. So the summer of 2005. Yeah, the summer of 2005, I came out here and essentially established residency. I planned to apply to be a group counselor in juvenile hall. So I opened up a bank account. I changed my license over, went back and finished my last semester. And then I graduated in December of 2005 and then moved out here, moved officially up and packed. And
wait, so you finished early?
No.
Oh, you one semester after?
One extra semester. Okay, yeah. So I went back and then I was just a regular student for just a semester. And moved out to Cali January of 2006. I had missed, when I went back for my last semester, I missed the written test, the application test for the group counselor in juvenile hall out here in the Bay Area. So I contacted them and the lady's like, oh, we'll have another one. Don't worry. We'll put you back in the pot. And so when I came out here, my uncle, who was a lawyer for the county that I work in, but now he has his own practice, and was telling me hey, the sheriff's office is hiring. You should be a cop. I was like, damn cop? What? But I was my mindset was just apply, I don't, so I can get going. I was working 2 jobs at the time. So, all right, whatever. So applied, took that test, passed that one, and just missed the group counselor for juvenile hall test passing by 0.3, 3 points. But I still had that one. So I took their written test. I was okay, I passed that written test. And I moved forward and did the physical. Obviously, it wasn't an issue. Then I went on to the oral boards. My uncle introduced me to some like other cops that he had knew through working the courts, like deputies, and was like, hey, they'll like you sit down with them, they'll help you. So get my oral, moved on. And I took that test in March of 16 or 06. I was in the academy in October 06.
Wow.
So it moved quickly. They were doing a lot of hiring. And so initially it was fine. Was in the academy. And then in the early December, I messed up on like something, one of their driving things. Like I tapped a cone on one of my, you failed something and you have to remediate it. So I didn't pass our remediation. I was like, whatever. And so I'm like, all right, I'm done, and they offered you a job, which was like a step lower of a deputy, like a technician. So it's like you're still an employee. So I took that and I did that job for a couple months and then asked to go back to the academy, went back in 3 months later and then finished that academy. And our academies are 6 months. So from March of 07.
Do you have to start over?
Yeah. So I started back over in March 07, graduated September 07. And then so I met my 2 boys have a different father. So they, I had those 2 boys in this time span. I met my husband 2000. We met like in 2011, okay. 2010, 11, but we started working at the same duty station in 12.
Okay.
And then we've been together since then. And then he retired. He did 20, he's older, so it's 25 years. So he retired so early. Not early, but, before most people would retire.
Yeah.
And so we met within the scope of work. But it's kind of a family thing. Like I was my stepson. He was in the academy last year. I was his training officer. So
wow.
He's a deputy now. So it's funny. So
that's cool. So you're a training officer.
Yeah. So I did at the jail. You do the jail a couple of years and you go to the court if you don't put in a transfer anywhere, and you do a couple of years at the courts and you come back. And then I went out to patrol and did a couple years out on patrol, was in the community policing aspect. I did regular patrol and then community policing. Helped make some waves there, started a backpack drive that I try to do every year. There actually is a mural of me on one of their inside of one of the buildings that they made a gym.
Really?
In our city. Yeah, it's like a picture, but it's a picture from a soccer thing we were doing community policing with kids, and they painted this picture onto a wall. So I go and I was like, oh, that's me. I had no idea. Like I went to help out at an event. And I was like, oh, that's me. So it's pretty cool.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
I have it because I went to work, help out at a boxing event. And I was like, oh, that's me on the wall.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. Please send it to me.
I will. And then I went to position because I really wanted to work at the academy. So I was like, I want to teach these kids and I get to work out. And I'm like, to wear the Smokey the Bear hat and, you get to yell and, well, this suits me. So I position had opened up because someone was getting promoted. And at the time, that captain there, he used to be one of my supervisors. He hit me up and was like, you want to come here? He's like, I'll vouch for you. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So it was pretty cool. I got called over there. So I've been there 2 years now and I'm kind of made history there being the first Black female to be a training officer. So that's cool. But I love it. It's like, I call the recruits are adults, these are men and women, but it's like to know that nerves and just stress can continually make someone so out of whack. They can't even say their name. Like it's kind of like a paramilitary environment that we do it in. It's not straight like boot camp, but it's similar. So it's funny, you know what I mean? So, it's like I call the recruits kind of like Bambi, they can't even stand up straight or find their way.
Oh, yeah.
But 6 months later, you're a little bit more in tune. But at the end of the day, we're training them to be in this world right now that is not too friendly to police. Your life depends on it if you're not willing to fight back. So we'd rather weed out the weak. But I did learn with the last academy. I've done about 6 or 7 now that apparently they are more fearful of me than my male counterparts. And I was like, even at graduation, they told me, man, we're still nervous around you. I'm like, why? I'm like, I'm nice. They're like, yeah, sure you are. So.
Did you ever have that feeling before? Did you ever have that feeling of power like that?
No, because it's like, even when you come in, work in the jail or, you got to earn it. I'm smaller in stature, just natural. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. You gain your strength and whatever. But it's like, they look at you as a female. Like I tell the female recruits, we're looked down upon, not because it's just how society is. So you gotta even when you're scared, you still gotta rep, you still gotta handle your business. And, you go into a pod with like a living area of minimum security inmates, and there's freaking close to 200, and I'm walking around, and it's like, you might be a little nervous or whatever, but you gotta handle your business. So I think that grows in time, and a lot of that I think is attributed to just coming up to and how I came up. You gotta, like I said, I wasn't gonna let nobody pump me. I was skinny, the glasses, so and so it's cool though. I like it. I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing now because I'm off the street or whatever. I still got to go work in jail. And if I go back to patrol, I could, but I feel like I'm content with what I'm doing right now. Probably the next step may be to attempt to promote out of this position, but I love what I'm doing. I get paid to work out and yell at people. So.
That's awesome.
But it's cool. So.
Do you ever watch The Wire?
You know what? No, and I feel like I'm ashamed because people talk about it, and I said I'm gonna start watching it because even though it's old, obviously, but still.
You got to watch it. So I'm starting a podcast with a buddy of mine where we're talking about The Wire, but you'll have to start watching it just because my only reference to like a female police officer is in The Wire, where she's like a huge character in the show, Kima Greggs, and so I was interested in your opinion of it. Or if you had seen.
No, I need to start watching it. I'm going to start because like even my husband's like, he's like, how you black and ain't watched The Wire? I think at the time when that show came out, I guess I just wasn't in the mindset of like watching. I just wasn't aware. I think because it came out when we were still kind of in college.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch much TV. Like a lot of those times, you go to the movie, you find about movies, but I really didn't watch much TV, so I never got on it. So
yeah. So you had kids before that. I skipped the kids then. How old were you when you had kids?
So I guess 27. My oldest is 10.
Okay.
So 26.
Okay.
So my oldest is 10, 26, 28. And then my daughter is 5. And so she had her right after, obviously, coming in the 30s, but I'm good. We have a blended family. So we have 7.
Wow.
So obviously.
Your husband came with 5, or did you have
4? So he came with 4, I came with 2, and then the baby girl is ours together. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a blended 7, but in the house alone, like I see, he's got his oldest she graduated a master's degree from USC. She's our undergrad from UOP in Stockton. She's a master's in social work, and so she's a therapist, social work therapist. She got her own thing, and she's got a company she works with in Oakland. And then my stepson played football at Indiana State. Went to junior college and went to Indiana State, and he just graduated obviously the police academy a year ago. And then he's got a sophomore at Tuskegee, in Alabama, and then he's got a soon-to-be high school sophomore, and then the 3 little ones here at the house.
Wow. So you are busy, Jess.
Yeah. Life is crazy, but that's why I say I love my position that I'm in for work purposes. If I was on patrol, when I was on patrol, like that's why he held the fort down when I went through the training program at patrol and all that, because it's a stressful thing. But all in all, like being in the position I'm in, you can't beat it. I'm technically on like a 4-10 schedule, but I could work a 5-10, depending on what we have like going on with the academy schedule. There's only for my department, there's only 3 of us, and then there's 2 outside agencies. So it's a small knit group, but technically I'm off Saturday, Sunday, Monday in most scope, but I got mandatory overtime I have to do and all that. But my kids are in sports. My son plays football.
Yeah.
I was excited because this year all 3 of them were going to do track, and I was coaching like CYO, and it was so exciting. And then but yeah, we're busy. But my husband holds the fort down, and because I'm out here scrambling, and on the weekends I try to do as much as my kids. I don't know if you heard my daughter during our whole conversation. She kept coming and demanding that I do stuff. That's my mini me. And then my older son's kind of another mini me, just I'm a hyper and athletic, and my middle boy is he's like me, shy, but also the aggressive one. Like he has a little aggressive streak too.
Okay.
But it's funny when they say you're gonna have kids that are just like you, or you're gonna have a daughter just like you. And my God, my mom said That is exactly me. My mom, my sister, every time they spend like a long period of time with her, they're like, that is you.
Yeah.
So
what's, I for me, like in the Bay Area for like police, I only know, again, everything in my life is pretty much referenced by movies and TV shows. So, Fruitvale Station is one of my favorite movies. I don't know, for you, and you mentioned just the temperament that's towards police officers over the last, while you were going through this whole career move, really. Can you just talk about the climate that's been going on, I guess, prior to coronavirus and everything, because now things are drastically even more different. But just, over the last, 5-10 years, what it's been like just being a police officer in this society, modern day, what that's been like.
So out here, it's interesting, and the climate out here has been heavy since the 60s. If you think about the Black Panther Party with Oakland and Huey P. Newton and all of those guys. But for me, just being in law enforcement out here, it's not bad. I said the sheriff's office in a sense is not bad. My department, Alameda County Sheriff's Office, which covers essentially Oakland and some of the surrounding cities. They know not to mess with the sheriff's office due to the Berkeley protests and the reputation they had. So you speak about Fruitvale Station. I actually was working when the shooting for Oscar Grant occurred. I was actually at the jail when the protests happened for the initial shooting, and being at the jail when people were coming in into custody, and for the, obviously failure to disperse. And then even when the verdict came in, working and having to be on a call-out team for potential protests with the unhappy and all the rest for the verdict. So, I mean, it kind of goes in waves. Granted, we're not always going to be liked. What I've learned is such as how you treat people. I mean, I've dealt with a wide array of people, but it's like, hey, I've been on the front line of several protests at the courthouse and in Berkeley with some of the free speechers that caused the riots and stuff like that. But I mean, even it's not necessarily, it's hard. What's hard to deal with is, number one, being a minority and being in this profession and being perceived as, oh, you're on the side of this. Like for the people who are looking in and not understanding what the parameters are we have to do, as well as in the profession, you have people with their mindsets that may not have a filter because they feel like you wear a badge and that you wear a gun just like us, so you should feel that way. What's right is right and wrong is wrong, kind of the battle with that. And so a lot of times it's hard. I mean, like my husband has his mindset, he's old school, and he's like, you should tell these people da-da-da-da, or you should, with the politics that goes on, and then even the profession. And it's hard, sometimes it's hard to hold your tongue. There's several times you got to step away from just your coworkers, you know what I mean? Step away from their mentality, because it's like, is this a battle I want to fight? Is it necessary for me right now to get in this onward battle with this person or even this supervisor who may be wrong? So in some aspects, it's hard, especially now. If you look at some of the individuals with wherever your political views lie, the climate with our current president, and how people feel, and then all the scope of things going around with the crime, it's hard. I mean, I've lasted almost 15. I'm climbing on year 14. What I do like now is that my duty station, the partners that I work with are good. They're good. We don't bring politics in. We have a good time, and we may speak about, oh, did you see such and such? And that's it. No one gets in a battle or, whatever, and that scope of thing, which is nice. Yeah. The larger duty station, you get more opinions and more mindsets. And it's interesting to say, you see some people's true colors and say, okay, it's clear that you're someone I can just work with outside of work. Not, but, so it's things like that. So it's a battle.
It's interesting you said, as a minority, because I think of like, it's a movie character. I just watched Queen and Slim.
I had to see that still.
And there's, in there, there's a black cop in there, and just other movies that you see or other TV shows. It's always Snowfall is one of my favorite ones. TV shows that's on.
Yeah,
and that's basically about the black community and the drug dealer living next door to the black cop, but all the other cops are white, and so there's this almost expected leniency from the black cop that, come on, brother, like that's what you always, and so, yeah, it was interesting hearing that from your perspective, how difficult it is or just, hard.
Yeah. It's, and then being a female, you're looked at as, if you don't doll yourself up, then how are you perceived? It's or you're too weak or this, or it's not woman's work. Like I had a family member tell me when I went into this that, I don't know if I agree with that. It's not woman's work. Well, what is woman's work? I mean, it's still, you can still be a woman in this profession and still live your life how it should be. I can still be a mother and still all that. So, it's a matter of just as long as I'm confident in myself and I can handle my business, still do as I am and be able to draw the fine lines and know what's right's right and wrong is wrong and cover what's in the law and what's under the scope of my policy and procedures, I'm fine. And like I said, it's carried me to close to 15 years. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it hard now having such a large family and not being anywhere near yours?
No, because my mom, I get to see, I see my family at least at minimum once a year, but I try to.
Do you guys swap? If you don't get there, do they come to you?
She tries. So I saw my mom, I have a cousin that got married last January. So I saw my mom, and initially I had planned to fly out for Christmas, but I was like, my nephew's graduating, so then I'll plan to come out, later on, and well, there we are. So
if you could have done it again.
Yeah, I mean, so we decided to do a different family trip, and it's fine. Like regardless, I FaceTime and stuff with my mom and them all the time. But we, if I don't, whenever this thing calms down, we'll go out there, but I try to get minimum once a year, or I'll try to see my mom can come out. So it works out. And then my mom has her sisters out here too. So, there's the family out here. But
so is your family, like your immediate family, the only ones that are there, and everyone's out there, out where you are?
I got a brother. My oldest brother moved down to LA a few years back.
Wow.
And then my brother Eric's in Jersey, and then my sister, my mom, and my nephew there. I had an aunt who passed away a couple years ago who was still back east. Okay. And then there's a distant uncle who I think my mom has contact. I'm pretty sure my mom has contact with, that's up in Boston. But yeah, it's just a
nice split.
Yeah. I mean, the family that's been out here, they're the younger siblings. They came out with my grandma back in the early 70s. So they've been out here since. My mom and my other aunt were the older ones and stayed back east.
Okay. Do you, you mentioned a little bit, but you keep in touch in Wissahickon sense? I mean, Facebook is obviously a thing, but do you keep in touch with Wissahickon world in any way? A little.
I still follow like the basketball because, Coach Wilson, Kyle Wilson, friend of his on Facebook, seeing how they're doing. You see sporadic just things, obviously knowing that the kid that was in the Super Bowl, he was a Wissahickon grad.
That was cool.
The only thing that I disapprove of Wissahickon related is how they're doing the Hall of Fame. I've still tried to get my brother inducted to that Hall of Fame. I feel like.
Oh, I thought you meant because of me. Okay. All right.
No, I feel like he would be a good candidate, and I've actually put in. I just don't know why. And even when I tried to push for him, I'd had so many people say, "Why hasn't he been inducted in there before?" Hey, I don't know. That's probably the only thing I'm like. There's people who, everybody has their reason as to why they believe, but I'm like, there's people here that my brother's done a lot more than. So that's the only thing where I'm like, who makes these decisions? Because I put in documents years ago, and I was like, now I got to go back through and contact all these people again to do that.
I was curious. I joke about myself, but you always wonder, would I ever do anything to garner being in a school Hall of Fame? But then I was looking, it's like, wow, this person just graduated, like, no offense to whoever it was, but like just graduated in 2012, and I'm like, they're already in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I think like there's got to be people like.
They make it, you read the criteria and they make it say, it should be this or that. And I think about all the work that my brother's done on TV shows and some of the ancillary stuff he's done and all that, on top of what his accomplishments were in the school. So I'm like, okay, well, what more does someone have to do? But I say, other than that.
Let's push this. Let's be this will be our fight, Jess. We're going to do this.
I'm gonna have to, because
I'm gonna make a banner or something.
Yeah, we're almost at 20, and so that means that he's close to 30.
Eric, it's Eric.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get Eric. We're gonna get Eric Davis into the Hall of Fame.
We're gonna push for it. But I mean, overall, I guess it's whatever they post or whatever's going on. You know, you see what people are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone back. Last time I was home, I took my husband back and we went to the middle school and
oh really?
high school.
I haven't been in there in so long.
I went and saw see if some of my middle school track records had they been broken yet or still up there, but just little stuff, laughing. But
had they?
I think a couple of them were still there. I think I think Anita Brown's daughter just broke my 400 record. I think because she made her daughter call me. So she's like, you need to pay homage to her or whatever. So she made her daughter call me and something like
that was Anita's daughter.
Yeah, I said records are made to be broken. It's all good. I said that was up almost 20 years. So, or it might have been 20 years. Yeah, actually,
I think you gotta go in the Hall of Fame.
Shoot, I don't know how they look at it. My brother ain't in there first. I gotta get him in there. All
right, we're making the push. This is my new quarantine goal. Get someone in your family. Start working on the 2021
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame class. All right, we're gonna do it. Wait, I gotta get my book. So this is the thing that sucks about this.
The yearbook.
Since there's no more face-to-face, I can't get anyone to sign my yearbook anymore.
I didn't sign yours?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
So that's the thing. It's like I have a lot of different, and I guess I've never really shown anyone this, but
So this is what we'll do. When I make it back out, I'll come and sign it. Whenever this pandemic's over and I can fly home, I'll come sign it.
Yes. I feel like I have to have like a come sign my book party now when this is all up. But you're in here.
I see. Yeah, that picture. I feel like it's exactly the same.
It is you. Your face looks exactly the same. What?
I saw that at a family member's house not too long ago, and I was like, that's the same. It's the same face. I'll send you that mural picture, and I'll send you my academy photo, and then the photo of me as a training officer, so you can see those. You're gonna be like, wow.
That'd be awesome. Can I post them when I do stuff like on Instagram or whatever?
Sure.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Awesome. This has been fun.
I know. Good memory lane.
I know. This is what a great way to spend my Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
Other than just sitting here, I've been listening to my own voice doing the podcast and binge watching The Sopranos. So
I'm about to start. I've actually been inspired by you and a college friend of mine. I'm going to start. I just ordered the last piece of equipment for starting up my podcast. I'm going to start up one. I'm going to call it The Juggle is Real is what I'm going with right now. And my goal is just to I've written up about 6-7 episodes right now and just kind of talking about, just the juggling, just being a professional person, not necessarily just harping on the woman, but just being a professional person who's out working and trying to juggle your family life and being married and your children and being with friends and family, just everything and what goes on and perceptions of society and through my work or through working just in general. So. And
what's it called?
I'm looking at right now, The Juggle is Real.
The Juggle is Real. How long are you looking? How long out? How far out? You're going to be.
I'm thinking. Well, I just ordered my last piece of equipment, so get going. I'm thinking midsummer is when I'm trying to push out. So I mean,
awesome. Audio or video?
Yeah, audio. And the thing about it is, I may try to do video too. We'll see. I'm doing all the research and stuff now, but in regards to if I want to do audio, video, both. But everything that I've gotten right now is just to plan for audio. So, start there and maybe even branch out because I want to have guests. So I've gotten a double microphone and all that. So
my advice is don't put yourself in a hole. So if you got the audio and you're ready to go, don't let video stop you. Just do audio and keep rolling with it, and people will adapt as you do more. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've typed anything that comes to my mind. I'm like, oh, that'd be a good topic, and just branch off and I'm trying to make a signature type thing now where I'm ending with I call it an ending sprinkle. So you're ending with some type of motivation, something to end out, something,
Yeah.
So that's my goal is at least by my birthday. Let it be launched on my birthday. So I'm looking to August time frame to get things going. So like I said, I just ordered my essential, all the equipment should be here early, the end of this month or beginning of May, and then I can get things started moving. So
that's awesome. If I can be of any help, from a technical editing standpoint or whatever, if you need any advice or any questions on whatever, feel free to reach out.
Will do, because I'll need, my brother is my only other technical person. He's back in Jersey, so it's like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would love to help any way I can. And when this comes out, I'll check with you. This will probably be the end of May, if I got it right. Okay. So as it's getting closer, I'll check with you on like the title and how far out you're looking, so I can give an update on it.
Appreciate it. That's good.
That's awesome. Jess, it's been great talking to you.
You too, man. So you take care and enjoy your quarantine.
Thank you.
I wish I could, but I've got to go back to work Monday.
I'm glad there's people like you out there.
Yeah, and I can't complain, because there's people, unfortunately, that are losing their jobs and on furlough and such. So as much as chaotic and stressful my life is right now, I'm fortunate to have a job. So
facts. All right, stay in touch, Jess.
For sure. You take care of yourself.
Awesome. Send me those pictures.
I will do. I'm going to send them right now for you.
All right. Stay safe.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.